Learn English through stories.
Once upon a time, there were two friends named Mark and John. They had been friends for years and always looked out for each other. One day, they were walking through the park when they came across a woman who was crying. Mark asked her what was wrong, and she explained that her son was very sick and needed an expensive treatment that she couldn't afford. John listened attentively, and then he asked her how much she needed. The woman told them the amount, and John reached into his pocket and gave her the exact sum she needed. The woman was overwhelmed with gratitude and thanked them profusely. As they continued walking, Mark turned to John and asked him why he had given the woman so much money. John replied that he had a little extra cash and that he knew it was the right thing to do. Mark nodded and said that he admired John's generosity. The next day, John received a call from a doctor who informed him that his wife had fallen ill and needed to be hospitalized. John was devastated and didn't know how he would pay for the medical expenses. Mark found out about John's situation and went to visit him at the hospital. John was lying in bed, looking very weak. Mark asked him how he was feeling, and John replied that he was worried about the hospital bills. Mark looked at him sympathetically and said that he would take care of the bills. John was surprised and asked him how he could afford it. Mark replied that he had been saving up for a long time and that he knew it was the right thing to do. John was moved to tears and thanked Mark for his sacrifice. Mark simply replied that he would do anything for his friend. As the days passed, John began to recover, but Mark's financial situation had worsened. He had used up all his savings to pay for John's medical bills, and now he was struggling to make ends meet. One day, John went to visit Mark and found him sitting alone in his apartment. John asked him how he was doing, and Mark admitted that he was struggling to pay his rent and bills. John thought for a moment and then said that he had an idea. He told Mark that he would repay his kindness by taking care of his expenses for the next few months until he could get back on his feet. Mark was overwhelmed with gratitude and protested that he couldn't accept such a sacrifice from his friend. John simply replied that it was the least he could do, considering all that Mark had done for him. And so, John took care of Mark's expenses for the next few months, and Mark was able to get back on his feet. As time passed, they both went on with their lives, but they never forgot the sacrifices they had made for each other. In the end, their friendship had grown stronger, and they knew that they could always count on each other, no matter what. The story of Mark and John is a testament to the power of sacrifice and the strength of friendship. They had both given up something important to them for the sake of the other, and in doing so, they had built a bond that would last a lifetime. Sometimes, we may be called upon to make sacrifices for the people we love, and it can be a difficult and painful process. But when we do it out of love and with the understanding that it is the right thing to do, the rewards are immeasurable. In the end, the sacrifice we make is not just for the other person, but for ourselves as well. It teaches us the value of selflessness and helps us grow as human beings. And when we make a sacrifice for someone we love, we become a part of something greater than ourselves. Something that can never be broken or forgotten.